Hello, am I audible? Good evening. Okay, so let me share my screen and uh, let's revise what we studied yesterday. Okay, so is my screen visible? I think it is visible now. Okay, so yesterday we studied about some of the basics of HTML, like what are the different types of tags, what are different attributes that we write in HTML, what exactly is HTML. Like I already told you, HTML is not a programming language, it is a markup language, like it's a web language. Whenever we write HTML, our web browser considers it as its own language, and we cannot build any particular website without HTML. Another thing we studied about the headings, different types of headings, the UL tag and the OL, the underlined list and the unordered list and the ordered list basically, and the list items. After that, we studied about the anchor tag. Is the text on the screen visible clearly, or should I zoom it a bit? Let me just zoom it a bit so that it is more clearly visible. Fine. So we studied about this anchor tag. Like if in href, if we add any kind of link, then we are redirected from our web browser to that web browser basically. Another thing is if we can add paragraph tag. Then we have this image tag with source from the like where we can add our image, and the alt giving the name of the image basically. If for some reason image is not getting displayed, then we use this alt tab basically. After that, we studied about the superscript and the subscript, and then the HTML tags, all the inside it, the boilerplate code. Next things, there are also some entity codes which are not present on our keyboard, but we can write this particular line of text and we'll be able to display that symbols basically using these entity codes. Another thing, div, we studied div is just like a container. It does not have any particular meaning, and it helps in SEO basically. And there are also another semantic elements like the nav bar, the heading, the footer section, the and the article. They are just like divs. They do not have their particular meaning, but their names describe some particular meaning. Like the nav is the top section on the website, header is the heading section, footer is the last section that we see on the web page. Then we have different sections on our web page. Hmm. Then we studied about the break line, the break tag. Wherever we apply this tag, we are redirected to the next line, and same the horizontal rule, where a horizontal line is displayed on our web page whenever we uh, just write it. Okay. Next, we studied about like the forms in HTML and the tables. So it was a bit complicated thing to learn. So we studied about the table, like how we start. We start by writing tables. Let me show you the code once again so that you are able to revise those things. Just a second. Yeah, it was this table, the heaviest words table. In table, we start with writing the table opening tag. After that, inside the table tags, we write t head describing that this is the head portion of the table. After that, we write tr describing that okay, we have started writing the headings in the row form, like in a particular horizontal line. After that, we write th describing that this is the first heading, and we can write as many th as we want as our requirement. After that, we start with t body, we write tr, and then table details, we can also add as many table details as we want. We have to just multiply this thing, like continue with inside tr writing the table details, so that our number of rows will increase. We can create multiple tables in html also, like this was table 1 and this is table 2. Another thing that we studied about was the forms in html, and one important thing in forms was basically if we try writing anything in action, whenever our form will get submitted using a button which is inside this form, like some kind of button. See, this is the button which is inside this form. If I click on this button, I'll be redirected to the link which is present in the action of my form. We can add as many details in the form as we need, and there are also different types of inputs that are present in html. We wrap label and input together. Labels are used to define whatever thing we want to write to our input. We can specify type, like here it is text, so there are different types of types, like radio button, checkbox, the range section, and many more. Then we have placeholder, which is like we can add it inside this input box and it will be displayed there for more code readability. We can also give name to our input, and we can also add multiple labels and input in our code. Then we had this select option, which is also particular kind of input only. If we write select, then we are able to select from the given options that we have given. We can add multiple options inside select and we'll be able to select them. So this was about the basic and the intermediate html that we studied. Then I gave you an assignment. I hope you guys are able to complete it. I also shared the notes here, for you all. So I hope you were able to complete this assignment. Can you tell me how much you were able to complete it? Okay. Today we'll be starting with okay. Cool. So it's good to see if you have completed that assignment. I'll also show you some like code of it. Like we had to develop this form starting and opening tag. After that, this div, and inside the div we have this pair of label and input. We have given name, first name like f name id, and then name. We have different like labels and input. Then I have inside this paragraph tag to select a race, then type of radio input, then another type of radio, like whatever was required for our assignment basically. So I have shared this code, you can check it out if you are not able to complete this assignment. Yeah, I have shared the code of like the yesterday's class, so you can see assignment section there and you can go through it. You will be able to complete it. I right now I'm not going to like share this assignment today by showing it to you on the screen. I've shared the code, you can go through the assignment there. Fine. So let's start with the css part today. So, CSS is the full form of CSS is basically the cascading style sheet. We call it cascading style sheet. So, let me just tell you, a plain written HTML text is very boring. It's not like you cannot interact with it that much, and like you need some things to styling, like changing the color of the headings, changing color of the text, or adding background color to your website. So cascading style sheets or css is very important. It becomes a very important criteria. So suppose I write a like new page with the name index.html. I start writing with boilerplate code, doc type html. After that, starting of the html tag. I hope my code is visible. I shared a zip file of the code with the moderator with whom I am contacting. So I hope he has shared the notes with you all. Inside the zip file, the assignment is there. Like, let me share my let me share the screen. You can take screenshot in one minute, I guess, of the assignment if you want to complete it. But I have shared the code also. Just a second. I Please take the screenshot of this. You have to develop it by using only HTML code. Whatever we had learned yesterday, you have to use that, and you have to build this. Take the screenshot of any if anyone does not have that screenshot, and then we'll continue. Is it fine now? Okay, I have shared the notes. If they are not yet shared, they'll be shared with you soon. I am continuously sharing the notes of yesterday. I'll also share the notes of today, and you will get it soon. If you have not got them, I'll ask moderator to share the notes. Okay, I'll ask him to share. He'll share the notes with you. Okay, so I'm starting with the CSS part now. We have to complete it today only. So starting with, I have written doc type HTML, which represents the document type of HTML. Then HTML. Inside that, I will declare two sections: the head section and another section is the body section. Inside the head section, I will define my title. Title will be learning CSS, and inside the body I will add one h1 heading displaying hello world. Okay, this is, and after that I will open this particular page in my browser. See, so I am able to see hello world on my browser with title learning CSS. Now I want, suppose I want to change the color of this text. It's in black color. I want to like change it. So how can I change it? So there are basically like three types of like methods for changing the color of it. Suppose I write inside my opening tag only style equal to like color, and color can be anything, suppose blue. If I can write it like this, and if I go back, hit refresh, then you can see I am able to see the text has changed its color to blue. This is the first step. It's also called like inline styling or the inline CSS. We are not doing it anywhere else, but we are doing it here. Another method which we can like use is, suppose I remove this and hit save, and suppose I write something like style. Okay, and inside the style I write h1 and like this. Just a second, let me check if my syntax is correct in the second style. Yeah, okay. So one thing, it can be written here, but it's a better practice, yeah, good practice to write the style. I was writing it correctly. Only one thing, it's we should always write it inside head section. We should not do these things inside body. They contain the white portion of our browser basically. So I write another like the second method of writing CSS, writing style, and then suppose I write the name of like my heading h1, and I want to change its like color to blue, or let's say red. I want to change its color to red. I hit save, go back to my browser, hit refresh. Then you can see that I have changed the color of hello world to red. I have targeted h1 and then changed the style of the h1 to blue. So this is the second method. My first method was writing it inside the opening tag of like my h1. My first method was writing it inside the opening tag of my h1, and the second method was writing it inside the style in the head section. Now there is also a third step, like third method of writing css. It's basically creating a new file wherever it is located. Like suppose I want to create a new file here, I'll create a new file, I'll name it, you can name it any type. I have suppose named it with index.css. Suppose I have named it index.css, and let me just link it inside. In we do all these things inside head section. So suppose I have created one link. This is also a tag in html, and suppose I have added this link. I add related like link related style sheet. Okay, we write it like this: style sheet. Okay, link related style sheet. href, you remember we had written in anchor tag. Href is used to connect more than two web pages. We write here styles dot css, not styles dot css, index dot css. Since this is the name of our like page, the next file index dot css, so we have written it like this: link related style sheet and href index dot css. Now let's start by writing h1. Inside this index dot css file, I'll write color to suppose yellow. I have written h1 color to yellow, and just save everything and let me go and refresh this. So it's not displayed. I guess there is some issue in this. In the I guess it's some issue in naming or something. Just remove it. It's not linked correctly to style sheet href index.css. Yeah. So it will be, the link will be in small, I guess. The name of this link will be in small. Can anyone find out the issue that I am facing here? Why I'm not able to display yellow color? Can anyone figure out? Right now, please focus on whatever thing I'm like teaching you, and I'll share you the notes in some time. You will get the notes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. One another important thing, I found out the issue. The issue is basically my index.html file and index.css file is not in the same folder basically. So I have shifted it. Let me just replace it, and I have here styles.index.css and index.html in the same folder. Let me just refresh it, and Just a second. Copy path. Yeah. So you are able to see that I have been able to change the color of my text to yellow. So I have linked my index.html file with another file which is named as index.css, and I am able to change the color of my h1 with whatever I have written inside it. See, I have written h1 color to yellow. Suppose I change it to red. I'll be able to, if I refresh, I'll be able to see red color on my like heading. Have you understood? Yeah, I have changed the link to small. The issue was that they were not in the same folder basically. So that was creating an issue. Is it fine now? I'll repeat. There are three types of methods of writing CSS. First one is the inline method of writing CSS. Suppose I just comment it out. First method is, suppose I write here style. This is called inline CSS. I change the color of my heading to blue. So I get, if I refresh here, I'll get blue color. Another method is, suppose I remove it from here. I go to my head section. Inside the head section, I write style tag. Inside the style tag, I write h1 and the color property, the color color property to let's say red. I save it, go back, hit refresh. I'll see red color. Third method was creating a new file with in the same hierarchical structure folder. In the same folder where my index.html is located, I go to the link, I add link relative to style sheet. It's style sheet basically. Then I add href. Href is the name. Inside the href there will be the name of the file, index.css. I hit save, go back to index.css. I write h1 color is equal to red, or I can say color equal to yellow for differentiating. Let me just save it, hit refresh. Then you can see I have changed my color to yellow. Fine. So there are three types of like methods. I have repeated this. Let's go further. For now, remember there are three types of like styling techniques. Okay. So yeah, just a second. Yeah. So let's now let me just create one. Yeah, I have this heading. I'll be adding different styling to my heading only for some time. So for now, we are going to learn about what are this like colors, and one important thing is the styles. So see, we could write h1 style equal to color purple, or like this that I have taught you. And the third one is by creating a new file. Okay, like this link related style sheet href styles.css. So creating a new file and then connecting it with my index.html, this is considered as the best approach, because once I have created this styles.css file, I can use it in different my index.html, my different html files. I don't have to create it again and again. And this is no, these two are not very good approaches to implement. We should not use these kind of approaches, since they cannot be shared between different files, and also the code readability becomes a lot more. The number of lines of code increases by using like these methods of writing css. Some of the attributes, so for example I had written here color. This is one attribute in css. Like if I add color, then it changes the text color. Suppose I want to change like the background color of my body, so in the similar in styles.index.css file, I'll write body, and then I'll say background color to black. what will happen in this case, my background color of my web page will change to black, since I have added like the background on body. So what is my body? The whole white section of the browser, it will change to black since my background color has changed to black. Another attribute is a background. It is a generalized form, like we'll study further what this background do. Apart from background color, we have background. So it can do a lot more than only changing the background color. Like we can add background image by using this attribute, and a lot of more things. So we studied about colors recently. So there are three ways of writing colors. Like I can write RGB values, I can write hexa values, or I can simply write the color, like I had written red, blue, or yellow, or something like that. So I have written here like this is RGB value. Suppose I want to write some RGB value like this. So I'll go to my index.css and let's change the background color to this particular RGB value. I'll just hit save, go back. See, my according to my RGB value, this is the RGB value. The first portion in this RGB value basically. Let me just zoom it and show it to you. This is the first like portion. So it represents red. The another eight one, it represents blue, and third one represents green. So RGB, like red, green, and blue RGB values. So we can use it apart from just plainly writing black or blue color. The third method of writing color is using the hexa values. Suppose I write f like 000. Suppose I write something like this. So it is a color code of black. There are a lot of color codes, so I have written like here black. Suppose, yeah, learning CSS background color 00 like 0. Hit save, click on refresh. See, my background color has changed to like black. Okay, by writing this hexa code. Fine. Is it fine now? Cool. So there are different types of like uh, methods. So there are also like see FF00. These are the red, green, blue, and there are a lot of hexa codes. You can check out different hexa codes by going through colorhunt.com. There are a lot of different color options that are available. If you just search on the web, so there are a lot of colors. You can just select any one. You hover on it. You will be able to see hex code. You click on it and then it will be copied. You go back to your code, paste that hexa code here, write hash, save, and go back to your website, hit refresh. You'll be able to see change in color. Like what we I had like copied, I copied this and I am able to see this on my background. Similarly, I can get a lot of, so it's a really cool website for like searching for different colors that you want. Similarly, you can also search RGB values, like you might be getting some different websites for RGB values too. Okay, so these are the different methods of like writing colors in like CSS. Okay, similar to like these attributes like color, the background color, and the background, there are a lot of attributes that you can check out by searching on the web, and the method of writing them is similar to this. Let's go to another thing. Yeah, in the notes I have taught you about this notes. And I have also taught you about the colors. Okay. Okay, the colors portion, like suppose I have like developed this particular web page. Let's just check it out what it's doing basically. See, there are this is a like text. So there are different colors that are present, like green, pink color, and like the color in the button, the color in like this paragraph. So this is like very different colors, and I have used different like styling options. So first one is like it is commented out, but this is a style, and the link related to style sheet is also added here. And different options, like in this styles.css I've added different color, like background color, background color. So there are these different attributes that are added in this file. Now Let's just go to the text properties portion. We have completed this colors and this property. Let's just jump to text properties. So yeah, so suppose I have this like suppose I have my h1 in my index.html. Let me just close all of these things. Suppose I have in my index.html this hello world written over here. I just go back. Okay, I just paste this path of my web page, like copy path and just paste it here. I'll be able to see this page. Whatever styling I have added in my index.css, I'll be able to see it like color yellow. Let me change it to color somewhat black. Okay, I have changed the color to black. I hit refresh. I'll be able to see hello world in black. Suppose I want to align this particular text to center of like my screen. I want to align it to center. So I'll use inside this h1 another property which can be text align. Also, by writing after writing different attributes, I have to add semicolon here. Otherwise, this will not work. Okay, so I have to write like semicolon after every attribute. I write the text align property to, suppose I write it to center, center, center. I hit refresh. Then you can see that my text has aligned to center of my web page. Basically, suppose I don't want to align it to center but to the rightwards of my web page, so I will write here right and then I will hit refresh. Then this will be displayed to the right of my web page. Fine. So this is the first property of text, which is also called the text align property. So horizontal alignment, text align is basically horizontal alignment. It will not be vertical, it will be horizontal. Controls how the text is aligned within an element. Okay. And within like width 50%. So any block, we'll study about what are the block and inline elements. Then you will be able to understand what this width 50% property is doing currently. For now, leave it. So another important aspect, like another important attribute that we have in text is the font weight property. So suppose, let me just bring it back, like this heading, let me just bring it back. I have let me just take it to center. Okay, refresh. So it's in center right now. Suppose I want to make this text bold, a lot more bold than it is just displaying here. So I will use the font weight property to some number. Let's say bold. I can also say it bolder. I can also give numbers. So there are different methods. So in bolder, it's already in bolder. So let me just change it to some number. Let's say 800 and then see what happens. Okay, it's not changing that much. Let me go to the max value. Let's check 900 if it's changing or not. No, it's not. Let me just check. I have done it correctly. Let's just add this font weight property. Since the heading is already bold, let me just add it to try adding it to some text so we can check if it's working or not. Hello, I am a paragraph. Hit save and go back, hit refresh. See, I have received one text which is in normal bold. It's not bold, it's in normal form. So let me just add this p tag here. Okay, and add my font to weight property to let's say somewhat 800. I hit save, go back, hit refresh. So you can see my paragraph has now bold. It's now bold. Without this font weight property, it was looking normal. Okay, now if I add my font weight property of like 800 to it, then I'll be able to see bold text here. Another important aspect that you might have noticed is this font weight property is not getting applied on like h1. Why? Because this is already bold. This is a lot bold, and the font weight 900 property is overpassing on it. Like it's not working on it since it's defined already in, like, to be bold, and that's why it's not working that much correctly. So I have removed this, and in the paragraph tag you can see the text font weight bold property. Okay, fine. Let me check if it's working on H3. Let me just change it to 3. Yeah, this is my H3. Suppose I'm if it's bold already, let me try changing this font weight property to light. I can also reduce like it. Let me just add my font weight property on H3. It's changed to H3 from H1 to like H3. It's changed. I hit on refresh. See, you can see my heading is now lighter than what, like, it was bold previously, so it was overshadowing the bold effect that we were like incorporating in it, and now it has changed to like light, like the 100 option was a lighter option, so it has changed to light. Similar, let's do it for H1. Let me change the hello world back to H1. Hit on refresh, both things, refresh. See, this is also again light. So bold property was not working because it was already bold, but light property can work since it's changed from bold to light. Fine? Yeah. Okay. So let's move further. There is also like different types of text decoration options. Like this attribute is also present in text. Suppose I want to decorate this particular, like my heading. Let me just write text decoration. So there are different options for decorating the text, like dashed, the dotted option, the double line through, none, overline, solid, underline, wavy, a lot of options. So let's try the dashed option. If I write text decoration dashed, go back, hit on refresh. Yeah, let me just add the text decoration to my H1 dashed, or I can say underline. Let me try with underline option. Yeah, so you can see these underline is coming with the text decoration column. Let's try it with the paragraph one also. Text decoration, underline, save, refresh. Then I'll be able to see this in my like paragraph. Let's try different text decoration options. Let's try line through. See, this is the line through option. This is also working fine. And let's try the double. What this double is doing. Some will work, some will not work based on the like the tags that are present and the availability of them. Let's check the overline. See, this is the overline. So we can use these different text decoration options for decorating our text basically. So up till now we have studied about the text align, the font weight property, the text decoration. Now we can also like use the line height. Suppose I have two paragraphs and I want to like increase the distance between these paragraphs, so I can use the line height. It will increase the vertical line spacing. I'm not writing it currently, but you can go through it, like you can practice it on your own. You will be able to see the distance, vertical distance between the paragraphs. Also, letter spacing between the like text. you can increase it. You can increase the spacing between different letters. Like if the hello word is written, then H and E, the difference between them, the horizontal distance between them, can be increased with the help of letter spacing. Another thing is the font size. Suppose I have like this hello word, I consider this very small. Suppose I want to like increase it, I want to make it little bigger than what actually we are able to see. So suppose I go back to my H1, I write font size to, let's say, what I can say, six uh, 600 pixels, for example. I have written it like this. I'll explain about the unit, the pixel and everything. See, the according to pixels, hello world has, the size of the hello word has increased. Similarly, I can reduce it to 300 pixel. I'll hit refresh and I'll be able to see hello word in little, like smaller than the 600 pixel. So we can also change, increase or decrease the font size of like my head, our headings. Okay. So inside the font size, we have lot of units. Like there are small, medium, large. I can write here small, medium, large also. I can also write my font size in percentages. Suppose I want to write it as form of like 40%. So it will take the 40% width of wherever it is like displaying. Okay. 40% according to like its parent basically. So its parent is its own like image. I'll draw a border and I'll show you. So that's why it's not like getting displayed in 40%. After that we have the pixel, which I already like had written about it, like 300 pixel. I hit refresh, I'll be able to see hello world. Third is like in EMs. We also write this in REM and M form. Okay, we study about REM and N further. I'll just show you. REM is like relative unit. We use it when we want to like create websites which are mobile responsive also, so that the like their size can be changed varying with different like screen widths. So suppose I write 3 REM and I hit on refresh, then be able to see this in some like size of the REM. Also, let me change it to 6 REM, then 6 according to relative like its width, so it will increase. So it's a very like it's commonly used when we are like displaying like we are like creating the mobile responsive websites. So let me just change it for now to like, let's say, 100 pixels for now. Okay. Yeah. So I have changed it to 100 pixels. So this was the property for like font size. Another thing is like 1 pixel is not necessarily exactly equal to width of exactly 1 pixel. Okay, so pixel does not mean the pixel of like image. It's a different unit basically. And 1 pixels are not recommended when we are building responsive website. Responsive websites meaning websites which are going to be used on different screen widths, like in tablet screen, in mobile screen. So we don't generally use pixels. Okay, they're static units basically. Then we have like the font family option. Suppose I want to change the font of my H1, so I can just write font family to, let's see if it's present or not in my like Franklin. It's some kind of, don't go through the name, just for now remember this is some kind of like font. Let's try writing it. Yeah. So my font of like my heading has changed. Similar to this, I can add a lot of fonts in my like H1. There are a lot of fonts that are present. Suppose I write Georgia Times New Roman and I hit on refresh, then you can see I have been able to change the text like font style of my heading. Fine. Okay, just a second. Just wait for a bit. You can just go through the code by that time. Yeah. So what I was telling you guys about was that font family. So also there are different, very different. A lot of font families are present uh, in Google Fonts. Okay, if you go to the web, Google Fonts. So there are a lot of like fonts that you can go through. Like this is the Roboto, and a lot of fonts. You can just go through them. Let me just click on Roboto, for example, and I click on Get Font. I'll select Get Embed Code, and let me just copy this code. This inside this link. Let me just copy it and paste it in my HTML. Okay, inside this head section above this, let me just paste all of this code which I copied from here, from my web portion like link, and I hit save, go back to my web page, hit on refresh. Okay, yeah, I change my index.css, my font family to Roboto. Okay, they are saying it to, if I have to use it, I have to write it as Roboto sans serif. Okay, so I will write Roboto sans serif in my CSS code, hit save, refresh. So you can see the text has changed to Roboto font. Similar to this, I can use a lot of fonts in like Google Fonts that are present. So you can make this your website more interactive. Your code, you can make it more interactive. So there are a lot of like codes. There are in Roboto. There are a lot of like embedded codes and all of these things. Fine. You can save your file with any name, it does not matter that much. You can name it for style perspective, you can say, you can name it with styles.css, but it does not have any impact on like your code with which name you save basically. Okay, so this was about the fonts and how the text properties, different text properties work. Again, I'll repeat the font family, the like font size, letter spacing, line height, text decoration, font weight, text align, etc. These are the different types of like properties that we use. Now, another thing, this is about the text in HTML, and I've also told you about the Google Fonts basically. See, we can add it like this also, or another thing that we can add, like another method is by importing it, this Google font directly in my CSS. This was the link, see, this was the link, and I was copying this embedded code from here. I was copying this and I was pasting this inside the head section of my HTML. If I go to import and I click on like this portion, at the rate import portion, I click on this and I paste this at the rate import portion in my CSS. At the top of my CSS, this I have pasted it here, and I just remove the links from this, these all these links from here, to show you that this can also work in CSS if I don't add it like this here. I add this at the rate import that was available in Google Fonts. Hit refresh, go back to my web page, refresh it, you can see again I am able to write this Roboto font without the need of adding all the links in my index.html. So I can also use this at the rate import to import different like fonts in my like in my web page. Fine. Okay, now the next thing is, yeah, we have studied about this. There, these forms, like these Google fonts are for free. See, this is also like I have imported this font. It's Montserrat font that we have added, the Roboto font. We can add multiple fonts also. We can just check it. Fine. So this was about the basic CSS that is present in here. There are a lot of things more, I guess. Let me just check it. Yeah. Let's start with selectors here. Okay. The selectors. Yeah. Selectors in CSS. So you have this particular selectors. Whatever thing, the name of the thing, like I was writing in my code, basically. Let me show you on my style. See this thing, the body thing that I am writing before my starting of my opening parenthesis. This is selector, basically. I select particular thing on my web page by using this particular thing. I've selected here body, I've selected button here, I've selected sign up here. So these are the different methods how I select some particular things on my web page. So these are selectors. Okay, so there are different types of selectors. Suppose this first one is the universal selector. Suppose I go to my like index.css, it's like my index.css. Let me go to that portion only that I had opened right now. Colors it was, I guess. Let me just show it to you like here only. I'm not able to view it right now. See, suppose this is my code of my HTML. I just open this in my like browser. I just copy path, remove this, paste. See, this is my code I have written by using HTML and whatever we have just learned in CSS. All of these things I have added here in this page. Suppose I want like in my CSS, this is related to what CSS file, styles.css file. So let me just open the file with which it is like connected. So let me just go to styles.css. This is my styles.css. Yeah, this is my styles.css file with which my index.html is connected for now. See the styles.css. For now, I'll just look at it. Okay. So let me just remove all of this. Let me just comment this out. All of the things. Let me just comment it out for better code, like for understanding things better. Let me just, yeah, let me just 1 second. Yeah. So I have commented everything out. Go back to my index.html. Click on refresh. You can see all of the things that were present have been removed. This particular thing is coming since it's I guess present in more styles.css. Let me just remove it. Only one style sheet is present in my web page for now, which is styles.css. Okay. Only one particular file is present, one particular link, which is styles.css basically. Suppose what I want is I want to select everything that is present on my web page, each and everything, like the search, the password and everything. Suppose I want to like select everything, then I use the selector star. It will select everything that is present on my web page. And suppose I want to change the color of everything that is present on my web page to blue. Hit on refresh, go refresh, then you can see all of the text that is present on my web page have changed their color to blue since I have selected star. This selector is universal selector and it selects everything that is present in the document basically. Understood? You can easily use lorem ipsum by going to the like web page, select copying the text from there and then pasting it inside the paragraph opening and closing tags. Okay, let me just continue further. So this was how I can select more of the thing. I can do more thing also. Suppose I want to like what I can say, suppose I want to change the background color of everything, like background color of anything, everything to red. So background color of each and every portion that is present on my web page will be changed to red. Everything that is present here on my web page, each and everything has a different background color. So there are different, you can write different attributes inside the star, and that will change for your whole web page. Another is the element selector. Suppose I only want to change the color of like my h1. So this we have already done. If I change this color to like h1, like color to suppose uh, beach color, or I can say aquamarine color, something like that. Suppose I go and hit refresh, then all only the portions where I have written h1 will change, nothing else will change. Suppose I want to like, let me check multiple things. Suppose I want to change the only the nav, like the text that is present in nav color to like aquamarine, and rest will stay as it is. I'll change this to from h1 to nav. Go and click on refresh, then only the heading that is present, like only the text that is present in search will change its color. Like only my label was present here, so search bar has changed from this. Okay, suppose I want to change the color of input, so I will write here input and then color to aquamarine, and then the color of my input will change accordingly. So similarly you can just like write any of the things here, and if I write anything in inside this input, then you can see the color of my input has changed since I have written color of my input to aquamarine. So you can use different selectors, element selector, you can use different elements. This is particular thing is the element selector that is present. Third type of selector is selector list. Suppose I want to apply the same styles to more than one, like more than one basically tags. Suppose I want to add color aquamarine to not h1 only, but also to h2, h3, and different h that are present, different headings that are present. So I can add same styles by writing comma. Okay, I'll write comma, and then I'll be able to like change h1 as well as h2. So this is the third method how you can write the selectors, by adding comma and then writing h1 and h2. Fine. Another method is by using the id name. Have you understood everything up till now? Let me just repeat it once again. Suppose I have this selector, these are selectors that we write here. If I write star, then all of the things that are present on the web browser will change its color. Everything, every each and everything that is present will change its color. Suppose I only want to change the color of my h1, that all the h1 that are present on my web page, then only that thing that has the h1 tag will change its color. Suppose I want to not only change the color of h1 but also h2 with the same styles that are present here, so I will write with comma h1 and h2. I go refresh, then you will be able to see that I have changed the color of h1 as well as h2. Fine. Okay, so this was about the selector. Now id selector. So they basically you can name things with like you can name tags with different names. For example, suppose I have this heading. Okay, i give I can give inside this heading, let me just zoom it a bit. See, this is my heading. I can, what I can do is I can give a class, and then I can give it any name, any kind of name basically. Let me call it my heading, or I can say my number one. Suppose I have given a name like this, okay, number one, and I go back to my styles.css, remove this. By for selecting class, what I do, I add dot, I write the name of that class, number number one, okay, and I give color to, suppose I give the color as red, okay, a different color. Go back, hit refresh, then you'll be able to see by using the name of the class. I have given this particular class to my like index.html, like the heading, and I'm able to change it. I can give this class name to multiple tags also. Suppose I give this class name to like this h2 also. I give this class name to button also. I give this class name to a lot of things like span also. I have given this class, then all the properties that are like styling properties that are present will be applied there. See, uh, all of the properties where I have given this class, this popular post, this text, it has changed its color. This vote has changed its color. This posted by has changed its color. So all of the things that I have given the class name, they have changed the style based on what I have given here. What I have given here color red, so it has changed accordingly. So let me just remove it. Another important aspect that basically we use is we can also give this name as id. First one was class, I can also give this name id. I can also say number 1. Okay, I hit save, go back to my web page, and in this case we'll not use dot for defining. For defining id styles we use hash number 1. This is for id. If I like color red, and I have given it to, for now, H2 only. Let me change this color to somewhat blue for differentiating. I have given this color blue to this particular ID. Okay, I go back. Okay, this number 1. This has changed its like color to what? It has changed its color to blue. Okay, I can also give some other color. Suppose I give it green. Go back, hit refresh. See, my color, like my ID which I have given, has changed its color to green. One another important thing is, suppose I have this ID, I copy this, add this to my H2, same ID, same name, add this to another H2 also, the span also. I have given same ID name to different. Let's try adding this. Okay, so you can see we we are able to change like particular, but it's not a good practice to use same id names. We should not use same id names, since it's not a good practice. We can use multiple class, we can use class, a particular class in multiple places, but we should not use id. Okay, fine. Okay, let me just continue further. Class and id we have studied. Yeah, the selectors thing. Yeah, id selector. See, I have also written here, keep IDs to a minimum. There are better strategies. We should not use like IDs a lot. We should use one ID only in whole code. We can use a lot of classes. Class is like an ID. See, class is like an ID, but class can be applied to a group of objects. Okay. It can be applied to elements which are different, like A and H1. Okay. It can be applied to anchor tag and H1 tags that we have like applied, and I showed it to you. Now there is another type of selector, which is the descendant selector. Descendant, what is descendant selector? Suppose I create one list. Let's check if there is any kind of list or something. Yeah, see, this is a list. Okay, this is a list that this is one unordered list. Okay, and if I just go to the code where this unordered list is present, see, this is my unordered list. This particular code is my unordered list. I want to like change the color of these list items, these particular list items, to like some color, let's say yellow. I want to change the color of these list items. So what I can write, these list items are inside the UL, unordered list basically. So these are inside UL. So suppose I go here, I write UL, and inside UL all the list items. Inside the UL tag, all the list items. So this is particular thing. The method of writing this is descendant selector basically. So if I change this color to yellow, let's see what happens. See, all of the like the unordered list bullet points have changed its color, and why these have not changed? Since they are href. So href, they are by automatically, yeah, by default they are given blue color. Suppose I just write some plain text here, you will be able to see that these list items plain text will also change its color. Suppose I write here list paragraph tag hello. Okay, and I just copy and paste it in all my list items. Same here, here, here. Go back, refresh. See, my list items have changed their color. Anchor tags are by default given blue color and underline. So that's why that was overpowering the style that we have applied there in previously. So have you understood? Class can be applied to like multiple tags, and id should not be like applied to these multiple tags, so multiple html tags. Whenever we apply like the methods or the functions in javascript, then you will be able to understand that ids are used once only. How to connect html and css5, I've already told you. We use the link method, link related to style sheet, and href, the name of the css file. They should be present in the same folder. Fine. Okay, so that portion was about the descendant selector. So this is the descendant selector. So inside this, for example, I have written li, and inside list item I want to change the style of my anchor tag. Let's go back to my code. See, let me change everything that I had done here. Okay. See, I have here the list items, and inside my list items, I have anchor tags. See, I have this list item, and inside this, I have anchor tag. Okay, I want to change the color of these anchor tags which are present inside my list items. So what I can do is I can change like all the list items inside all the anchor tags that are present only inside the list items, and I want to change the color to, for example, suppose green. Okay, I want to change the color to somewhat like this. Then only the list items that are present, that only the anchor tags that are present inside list item will change their color. See, home, about, contact, and google. And all other anchor tags, see, these are also anchor tags, but they have not changed their color because they are not present inside the list items. So this is the use of like descendant selector. There is also adjacent selector. Like suppose I want to uh, only change color of the paragraph that is coming immediately after h1, like adjacent to h1, then we can use the adjacent selector. For example, let me just check if there is some example of this in styles.css also. See, for example, I have this h2 plus button. Okay, I have this h2 plus button, and I just try writing this here h2 plus button. So what it will do, only that button that is present adjacent to h2 will change its font size to 15 pixel. Let me just change it, and I can say to uh, mm, let me just change the font size to 300 pixel, somewhat bigger for it to show. Let me just go back, hit on refresh. See, all of the like buttons that were present aside h2, like this is h2, and we have a button below it, h2, a button below it, all of them have changed their like size. Okay, so this is the use of like adjacent selector. We have the direct child selector, which means that it select all the list items which are direct descendants of div, like all the list items that are present inside this div, all the list items that are present inside this div will change their color. Similar is the attribute selector. Like if I have this input, and inside the input I give the type of like text, I want to change the input whose type is text basically, so they will change. For example, in my code, let me just change it for now. Let me just reduce the size, click on refresh. See, I have this input, search input, and I have this password input. So let me change one of the input to radio type. This is first one is the type text, second one is the type radio. I change it to type radio. Okay, I hit save, go back, click on refresh. See, the my another input has changed itself to like radio. And now what I want is I want to change the input of only the text form to like green or something color. So what I'll do is I'll select input type. Okay, type equal to like only the text one should change its color, not the other one. I write something like this, and what I do, I change its color to green. Click on refresh, and you can see the color of my input has changed to like green, but the radio button color is still blue. Suppose I want to change the type of radio to green, not the text one. I hit on refresh, then you can see it's displaying like the text is displaying in black, but the radio button has like changed. Sorry, the type of radio should be displayed here. Why it's not getting displayed? Let me check. Type of type is not getting displayed like some in the form. Let me try changing the background color to brown. See, the type of text has changed its background color to brown. Why am I not able to select the radio type? Hmm. There is some issue with radio, I guess. Let me try range. And I change this to range. Do you guys know any why this is not like changing background color or something? Let me change it back to color. Background colors will not work, but color can work. No, it's not. Can I add multicolor or gradient in single word? You guys can try checking it out why it's not working. You can tell me in tomorrow's class. I'll also try it why it's no longer working. It was working before. So just try doing it. You can add multicolor or gradient in a single word. Yes, you can try it. Like we have different like options of adding gradient selector, CSS gradient selector. You can go through this website and you can just use this. You can write this code. It will give you a CSS code and you can write it. So you can add multicolor and gradient in CSS. Okay, let's just try why we are not able to select this attribute selector. It's deprecated or something like that. Just you can check it. Now next is the like pseudo classes. So we can select the state of that particular selector. For example, I have like some button. Suppose I have a button. All the buttons that are present on my web page, they have their color. Like suppose I have the background color as black. I have my background color of all my text to of my buttons to black. Suppose I have them. Suppose I want to change the state of this button. So state changing pseudo elements, or I can say like that. If I just write it like this, button hover. Okay, so what is the meaning of hover? If I just like move my mouse over that button, the color of that like background color will change. Suppose I just write the background color as green. Go back, hit refresh, and I just hover on the buttons. Then you can see I'm able to change color while I just hover my mouse over the buttons, similar to all the buttons. See, I'm able to change it. So they similar to like hover, there are a lot of options. Suppose I have this active property, active pseudo element. Okay, what does active do? It does not change color when I am like hovering over it, but when I click, it changes color. When I click using my mouse. So this is just like hover, but only difference is that when I click on it, it changes color. Understood? Fine. Let me just go further. So there are different pseudo classes like hover, active. You can check them out, the nth of type, and many more. What I can do is like there are also pseudo elements. Suppose I want to only change the first letter of a particular text to change its color. So what I can do is let me just take my H1. Let me just copy it and see what this does. Let's take my this is my let's take H1. Okay, its color. Let's change the first letter of H1 color to violet. Okay, go back and refresh. See, by using the first letter like pseudo element, I am able to change only the first character of my H1 by using this particular line of code. There are many more like methods of doing this. Suppose I only want to change the first line of paragraph color, so I will use first line. Then there is selection. What does selection do? Let's check. If I just remove the first letter, go to selection, save, refresh. Then whenever I will select something, okay, whenever I select something using my mouse, this particular thing will change its color. Suppose I select P only, then this will change color. A only, this will change color. Fine. So this is by using the selection pseudo element. Okay, so this was about the selection. There are many pseudo elements, you can just check them out. You can google, and there are a lot of like pseudo elements. Another important property is the cascading property. What is this cascading property? Suppose I remove all the styles inside my styles.css. I remove everything. Suppose I just keep, yeah, I've removed everything. And suppose what I do is I go to my H1, I add color to blue. Okay. And once again I write H1 color red. What will happen in this case? In this case, let's check what will happen. I have removed all the styles. See, the color that I have defined after blue, the red color. Okay, no matter what color I give here, green color. See, so blue will over like this second color will overpower the first color. So always the color which is written at the last of my styles.css will be displayed, no matter if you have applied the same styles to, like you have used the same selector. Okay, so only green color will be displayed. Suppose I move this blue below this H1, hit save, click on refresh, then blue will come. So everything that is written on the last will be displayed on the like top. So this is the cascading property in CSS. Okay, this is the cascading property in CSS. Just a second. Just check this cascading property. I'll just connect my charger in a moment. Yeah. So I hope it is fine by now. Yes, I'll share the notes with you guys. Okay. So yeah, the cascading property. Another important thing is, suppose I want to target the same element. Suppose I have targeted this element, this h1. It has changed its color to, suppose, green. And if I add style to my h1 here also, let me remove this class, and I add style, and I add here color red. See, I have written color green here, and I have written here color red. So can you guys guess what will be the color of my h1 in this case? It's red. It's red currently. So why it's red? Because this inline css, they overpower everything that is present basically. It will not matter whatever you have written in the style, what color will be written here will be displayed on your web page. Okay. See, id is always given preference in class, always remember this. And pseudo class is always given like preference over element and pseudo element. Another thing is, see, 1000 you write, no matter you write 1000 element selectors, it will always be less than one class selector. If you write class property and you add the css property to it, then no matter whatever selectors you write, that css property will be applied over it. See, and inline css, they are extremely specific, meaning they will be overpowered over everything. They will be, so this is why no one recommends them. So this is why we should not write inline css, since they will overpower over everything, and then then you will be having issues with like styling in your styles.css file. Now there is also one important exception. What is this not important exception? Suppose I have written h1, I again write h1, and the color to uh, the color property to red. See, so for now what will be displayed? Red color will be displayed, since it's in the second numbers, it's in the second, like written at the last after green, so red will be displayed. Suppose I write here, in the green I write not important. So what this important does is, it will give explicit or importance to this green color, and we'll be able to see green color here. So what is important, if you wherever you write this not important kind of thing, then that particular style will be given importance over everything, that is, that what over everything, whatever thing you have written, it does not matter. Understood? Okay. So this was about the selectors in css. I will share the notes, you can revise it, and whatever thing you have not understood, just try, google it, just try practicing, you will be able to understand it. Fine. Now the next thing that we have in css is the like box model. Just a second. Yeah. So next thing that we have in css is the box model. So what this box model means, that everything is in cascading style sheet is a box. Whatever thing you are writing, okay. Suppose for example, let me take an example to show you this more clearly. You just create a new file, index.html, box dot, let me just name it to box.html. Okay, I write doc type html head, body, I give some title to it. Okay, css h1 hello everyone. I save it, and suppose this is my h1. Okay, let me just create one div. Okay, inside div, hello, I am a div. Okay, let me just style it a bit. Let me just create one styles file also. Stylebox.css. I add link. Okay, related to like my style sheet. Then href, and it will be style box.css. Okay, I go my stylebox.css. I write h1. The color property of h1 to blue, and the another was div. So my div, the background color of my, let me give some width and height. So how we give width and height to an element? We write width 500 pixel, and we can also give height as 500 pixel. Width and height, then it will be just like a rectangular box. Let me show you in some time. You can write the like properties, and let me give a background color, or let's skip the background color for a bit, or let me show it to you. The background color, I can write yellow. I save it, I select copy path, and show this particular thing that we have created in the browser. Yeah, it was for text only. That's why I guess it was not working correctly. See, so I have developed this. Hello everyone, the color to blue, and like the background color of the div, 500 pixel in height and 500 pixel in width. So this is my div basically. So I can, like, it's a box model. So what box model meaning is, suppose my there's this is my div, and I, how can I show it to you? Let me just go on inspect. You can go on inspect and check like whatever what all the styles are displayed here. From here you can just see this. Right clicking on Chrome and then going to inspect. See this particular thing. Let me just zoom it for you guys. See, are you able to see on the right this some box kind of things? This is my div. Okay, this is my div, 500 into 500 pixel div. This is highlighted portion. Then just in the div I have this padding. First of all I have padding, then I have border, and most outside region I have margin. What are all these things? They are like different. I suppose I have my elements, some I have written this text inside div, hello I am div. Suppose I give padding of 10 pixel on all sides. Okay, I hit on refresh, and you can see my text has shifted somewhat. It's not like connected to like the end, like the edge. See, if I remove this, click on refresh, then it's like connected a lot. There is no space between like top and the, if I add padding, then what happens, my text gets shifted a bit. Okay, some amount of padding is displayed between the text and the starting and the ending on all four sides. Okay, so this is padding is applied. Suppose I add border. Okay, I add border of 4 pixels. What will happen? Let me click on refresh, and let me give border color also. Here I can give border color by writing border color to black. Go back, hit refresh. Not able to display border color, border. Let me just check it once. And border 2 pixel in solid. We also define here solid, like the border type. The border type should be solid. We can also define like different colors, and I write here black. We can like we can write this all in one line. If I go back, hit on refresh, then you can see I have added this like border on all four sides of my div. I can change it to dashed. Then what will happen? This border will be in dashed form, like this dashed form. I can also change it to dotted. Then in that case, my like div will have a dotted border. Fine. Yeah. So this particular thing tells us that this is a box model, and everything, all the styles that are being applied here. See, I have applied the margin of 8 pixel. You can see this is the margin of 8 pixel. This particular is the border. Then we have some of the padding, and we have this whole content. So this is the box model in CSS. So we can apply all of these things for like changing the size or like adding the margins and paddings. See, we have border, okay, we have padding is between content box content and the border. Then we have this width, then we have margin. After that, we have border width. We can change border width, border color, border style. And this is the shorthand which I was like saying, like border style, border width. Then we write the border style, then we write the color, just like this: border width, border style, and then border color. Then we can also change the radius of our border. Suppose I want to like change the border radius, like the corners radius, to suppose I want to change it to 15 pixels. I go back, hit refresh. Then you can see the edges, my edges have become somewhat rounded. I can also increase this, I can make it 100 pixels. I go back, refresh. Then see, this radius has greatly reduced, it has become circular. So this is the use of my like border radius. Okay, I can also add padding. So there are different methods of adding padding. So suppose I have written here 10 pixels, so 10 pixel padding will be added on all four sides. If I write 5 pixel and 10 pixel, then 5 pixel will be added up and down padding, and 10 pixel left and right. Suppose I have written it like in the three numbers. So 1 pixel will be added at the top, 2 pixel horizontal sides, and 2 pixel at the bottom. Okay, if I write on all four sides, so 5 pixel at the top, then 1 pixel at the right, 0 pixel at the bottom, 2 pixel at the left. So this is the different methods like shorthand for writing the padding basically. So what I've written of border box tells the browser to account for any border and padding. It basically, border box tells this is the border box I showed you recently. This is the border box. It tells about what my element is having any padding, or if it is having any border or margin. So this is the border box. Now margin is the space outside the border. So let me show you. Suppose this is my like div. I want to give a left margin to my this div. So I will write margin left of like 50 pixels, for example. I want to give it 50 pixel left margin. So what will happen? My div will be shifted 50 pixels towards the right. Suppose I give it to like 40 percentage. In percentage, the value will be much bigger. You can see a clear difference between it. See, my like div has shifted 40% to the left. Why? Because I have given margin, left margin of like 40%. Okay, so this is like, yeah, this is like the margin property. I can also give margin right and a lot of things. And this there is also shorthand just like padding for it. Suppose I write margin, I want top margin of like 30 pixels, for example. I want uh, right margin of 0 pixels. I want left margin of like 100 pixels. And I want like bottom margin of 100 pixels. Let me change it to 0. I want like left margin of 300 pixels, for example. I have written the shorthand. I go back, click on refresh. Then see, I have received 300 pixel of like left margin. Suppose I change the top margin also to 300, so it will come a little bit downwards. So this is the shorthand for margin. I hope all of these box properties are clear. fine. If there is any issues, you can write in the chat box. I am continuing from here. Okay. So this was about the styles property, margin property. So I guess the box models is done. Let's just go to the display property now. Okay. So display property. So basically we have like three kinds of display in CSS. First one is the inline display, another is the block, third one is the inline block. Suppose I open like this particular page I have developed. Let me just go here, paste my path here. See, these are my three divs. This is my div 1, this is my div 2, and this is my div 3. For now, and I have linked this style sheet, styles.css, this style sheet with my this particular page, this styles.css. I have linked both of them. Okay, so all the styles that are coming on this page are coming from like this particular portion. So on the particular div, what I have done is I have added my display property. I have written display property to inline. What this inline is doing, it is making sure that all the divs that are coming here, basically, see it. For now what has happened, the all the properties, let me just comment all of this out. This is my display inline property. By doing this, all of the three divs are coming in a line. And also, if I write here block, for example, if I write here block, then they'll not be in a line. Okay, they'll come one after the another. Okay, and if I write inline block, then they both will have the inline properties and the block properties. For example, suppose I have height and width of this div, height, the width of the div as 200 pixels. Okay, and height 200 pixels. I have displayed it as block, like the block properties. Let me just give color also so that you can differentiate where the div is. Yeah, so these are I have given the block property to these three divs. So what has happened, one div is taking the entire region of the like entire horizontal region of the web page. Nothing else can come here now, or this will take all the horizontal portion of my web page. The second div is also taking the whole portion, and third one also. So that's why it's coming one after the other in the vertical alignment. And also I am able to specify the height and width property. Suppose I change this to inline. Okay, so let's see what happens. All of these are the three divs that are there. By using the inline property, what has happened, the width, I am not able to specify the height and width property of the div, because inline properties does not let me do that. Not, and also not the margin properties, they don't let me do that. And I am not able to specify height and width when I am using display inline. Okay, and they are coming in a horizontal line, all of these divs. Suppose I write inline and dash and block. In that case, I will be able to get all the properties of inline as well as block. I am getting them in inline, and I am also able to specify height and width. So by using the inline and block property, I can make them in one line, and I can also specify the height and width of the blocks. Fine. So these are the three basic properties. Let me just give you insight. Like the display inline, it can make block level elements behave like inline elements. So there are different block elements in like HTML. The different block elements are there. For example, H1 is a block element. Okay, paragraph is a block element. So we can change these block elements to inline elements. Let me give you one example. Suppose I have this, I am high, I am also high. I have these two headings. Okay, and for now I don't have any CSS written on my like H1. See, don't have any my display styles written here. Okay, suppose I have written here display, and I have not written for now anything. So let's just remove it and see what I am like display getting displayed here. See, I am high, I am also high. I am also H1. I am H1. I am also H1. Okay. So suppose I change the display property of these H1s. By default, they are like block elements. H1 is always a block element. Suppose I change the display property to inline. And then see what happens. Both of these will be displayed in one line. I am H1, I am H1. Okay, so both of these are displayed as in one line. And suppose I give them as inline blocks. So with inline block, I'll be able to like specify height and width of these portions also, and I'll be able to use both of its properties together. See, now the width and height that I have specified, they are that only. See, 300 pixel width and margin and padding, everything I am able to like write here. So by using the inline block, I can use both of the inline properties and the block properties. So this was about the like, if I just select display none, I just go here, I select display none. Then let's see what happened. I have selected H1 and I have in H1 I have added display none. I go back to my web page, hit refresh. By using display none, my like the element has been removed. Okay, so this is the different types of display properties: the inline block and the inline block. Fine. Okay. So that was about the display properties. And I was showing you some of the things about, yeah, I was telling you, describing you about the units in before some time. So they are the absolute units: pixels, centimeter, inch, and mm. You can add your headings and your divs values in this pixel also. And these are the relative units, like they change according to the size of the like screen. Okay, so for example, let me just yeah, let me just copy this, paste this in my browser. Yeah, so they are the like different, they are written in like different units. Okay, this is an H2, this is an H3. Okay, and let's see what the styles I have added here. So for like H1, I have given font size of 40 pixels. Okay, and for EM's H2, I have given different styles. So like for H1, I have given pixels. So if I just inspect and I just change the like size of the screen, so you can see that this is an H2 that I have written. H2, it's not changing its size, but this is an H3 text is changing its size. Basically, it's becoming smaller with like screen width. So what EM does is, when we study about the responsive behavior of CSS, then you will be able to understand the units more clearly. Just do one thing: try writing these different units on your own and just check what like difference they are creating. I'll explain all of the units one by one. Like suppose this is the width. If I have the 50% of width, suppose I take one div, I remove everything from the body portion. Yeah, suppose I take one div. Okay, and I write hello, I am a div. Okay, I go to style CSS, remove everything, give my style to div, the background color as black, and I can say the width property of div to be 300 pixels, the height property of div to be like suppose 400 pixels. I've given this. I copy path, remove this, paste it here. So I have this div which is 300 pixels in width and 400 pixels in height. Suppose I give the, like this is in pixels, suppose I give the width property as 50%. Okay, not in pixels but 50%. Let's see what happens. So by using percentage, what has happened, it has covered 50% width of my web page, the 50% width. So similarly, if I add here 40%, then let's see what happens. It has covered like 40% height of the web page. Okay, the 40%, that is height of the web page. Since height is a lot more, that's why it's only coming like this. Okay, so let me just change it back to pixel, and let me do one thing. Let me just show you. uh, if I change the size of my screen, okay, I click on inspect and I try changing the size of my screen, then you can see in all the screen widths I am getting the width as 50% of like the screen that I have right now. So this is the use of like percentage. Okay, I can also change it to em, but em and rem we generally use for text. Okay, we use generally em and rem for text. Basically we don't use it for like this. So it will not give me accurate but somewhat like similar. Just try using these different like units, you'll be able to understand them more clearly. EMs are generally used for fonts, and REMs are also shortcoming of M, and we can use them in like my texts. Okay, relative like root EMs are, they are root HTML size. Like if the root size is 20 pixel, then one rem is always 20 pixel. Like suppose the web page default font size is 20 pixels, then one rem means 20 pixel. Okay, so this is the relative to root, and em is relative to like my parent, like where I am. Like suppose I am inside this div and I have one heading, then I will be getting my like text according to size of my div. It will become smaller if the size of my div is becoming smaller. For in the case of M, we have this size similar to the web page. Like if my web page is getting smaller, then my rem size will also become smaller. You just search about it and just go through the units portion. Then I guess these portions are, have you understood about the units? Okay, so I think I have taught you a lot of things in CSS, and they are like uh, all of these things are mandatory. I share the notes, but I don't think a lot of things are required. I'll teach about the flexbox tomorrow and the media queries tomorrow. Yeah, and the Z index. After that we'll start with the like we'll skip the bootstrap part, we'll start with the JavaScript part, which is most important. Like making our website, like changing it. So there are, I'll share the whole notes, like all of these things, you can go through them and you can just check about like the units and all. So this will work. And I will also share the HTML and the CSS notes. Yes, I'll ask the moderator to share the notes with you guys. So if you guys have any doubt, you can ask me in the meantime. Before leaving, I can address any of your doubts. Do you guys have any like doubts? I guess they are being shared through WhatsApp. I'll ask him how I have to share the notes, and I share them. Bootstrap is a styling like it's like styling properties. So I'll explain about a bit about bootstrap tomorrow when we'll be studying about it. You can search on the web about bootstrap more. It's used for styling basically. I don't have any idea about where to submit assignment. So uh, yes. So is it fine now? I guess all the doubts are completed for now. I share the notes with you all. Thank you so much. And okay, let me stop sharing. No, we can develop a landing page kind of thing with without JavaScript, but we won't be able to